Former state lawmaker and logger Troy Jackson secured the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate in Maine on Saturday and will face longtime GOP Senator Susan Collins in November in a race that could decide which party controls the Senate. Jackson replaces Graham Plattner, who won the Democratic primary in June but withdrew from the race this month following an allegation of sexual assault that Plattner has denied. Maine Democrats met Saturday to choose a new nominee to face Collins. Support coalesced around Jackson, a former Maine Senate president and fifth-generation logger from rural northern Maine who campaigned alongside Plattner during a failed bid for governor and was a favorite among progressives. By Elizabeth Haucroft, Sergio Leon, and Manuel Asluz. Bordeaux, France/Madrid, July 25th, Reuters. Wildfires on the coast of southwestern France moved inland towards Bordeaux on Saturday, forcing the evacuation of thousands in the city's suburbs, while blazes across the border in Spain caused their first death. Hundreds of thousands of people have been evacuated in both countries because of those fires, the latest natural disasters linked to sustained dry spells and successive heat waves. President Donald Trump bombed at the White House Correspondents' Dinner Friday night. He knew he was bombing, too, and he even tried to meta-joke his way out of it. But no, even the president's jokes about his bad jokes fell flat, and he was widely ridiculed for the comedy routine afterward. Members of the media mocked the leader's dismal performance on live TV and all across the internet. In some other countries, that's a criminal offense. But in the US, it's the norm, so maybe Trump's speech unwittingly underscored the theme of the dinner: America's robust First Amendment protections. In a rambling hour-long speech, Trump insulted journalists by name. Washington, AP. Dangerously hot weather will expand across much of the central United States this weekend and into next week, pushing temperatures above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 37.8 degrees Celsius. From Dallas to North Dakota, with roughly 70 million people facing heat advisories. A heat dome, where atmospheric conditions trap heat, will create sustained high temperatures and accumulating discomfort. Overnight low temperatures aren't expected to come down enough for people. What's for dinner? Lately, at April Jack's house, it's whatever is on sale. Jack, 50, scouts an app for deals at her local supermarket before she buys groceries. When she reaches the store, she looks in the weekly circular for coupons she might have missed. If shelf prices look too high, she tries to find lower prices someplace else. The apples went up here, the ones I eat, so now I'm not going to get them here, Jack said as she pushed a cart into a Stop and Shop near her home in Lexington, Massachusetts. Couponing, comparison shopping, and cutting back on favorite foods are new habits for her and millions of other Americans as they absorb the biggest jump in grocery prices in a half-century. Buying food to eat at home has gotten 33% more expensive since the beginning of 2019, according to government figures. With a conflict in the Middle East creating more price pressures, the cost of filling refrigerators, freezers, and pantries has made affordability a by Julie Steenhuisen and Tom Polensek. Chicago, July 25th, Reuters. 2 weeks before the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued its cyclosporiasis health warning on July 14th. Michigan warned of an unusually large outbreak of parasitic disease that was causing explosive diarrhea. New cases are still being reported in the 9-state outbreak. Michigan is the hardest hit, with more than 8,100 cases. The state is straining to keep up with the caseload in part due to federal funding cuts, as well as what officials in 2 counties and a third source familiar with the state's response called lagging or limited communication from federal agencies. As a result, state and county health officials are borrowing staff and recruiting volunteers to sleuth out potential causes for the outbreak beyond the bagged lettuce that has been linked to Taylor Farms and Taco Bell, Michigan state and local health officials said in interviews. The strain illustrates how states are struggling to get ahead of a fast-spreading foodborne outbreak without the federal resources. The Khaibar-Shikan missile is the workhorse of Tehran's arsenal, a cheap, mobile, accurate weapon with a range of at least 900 miles. And recently, Iran has been using it in complex attacks, proving itself to be an adaptable adversary for the U.S. Since the fighting picked back up this month, Iran has been firing the Khaibar-Shikan at American bases, U.S. officials said. It is using a combination of different flight paths, maneuvers, and speeds to try to confuse U.S. defenses, they say. The U.S. and its partners have shot down most Khaibar-Shikans throughout the war, one of the U.S. officials said, but some have gotten through. Unlike Iran's older missiles that require lengthy pre-launch fuel. President Donald Trump ordered signs outside the National Museum of American History warning visitors that American historical accounts inside aren't accurate, in his telling. Visitors walking into the Smithsonian Institution Museum in Washington, D.C. could see temporary signage or exhibits alerting them of the contents inside the space, according to the July 24th executive order, which directs the Interior Department to place the warnings. The order comes after the White House released a 162-page report on July 4th that disputed the Smithsonian's accounting of American history. The report, by the White House Domestic Policy Council, said the National Museum of American History was